Channel 9, Kenneth Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for talk.
Sportsman's Paradise. That's how the material read back in 1900, Sportsman's Paradise, and you see what is really a far cry from what used to be here on the banks of Little River. You see a gentleman, one lone gentleman in a boat here fishing. But let me tell you, there is a lot of history in this place. We're going to float the Floodway Ditches today, and we're going to talk about some of that history. You see in this Little River Drainage District, you see an area at Hornersville where some 5 or 6 or 7 ditches flow. Supposedly, back in early years, maybe before men, maybe when only Indians were here, probably the whole area between the St. Francis and the Mississippi River were one broad, vast floodplain. Drainage ditches by man have come in and cut their way and made this area able to be farmed, and indeed this is rich farming community here in this Hornersville area. You're looking at an area called Pierce Landing.mp4. Here in Hornersville there is a beautiful spot that really was not known to us to exist, and we have the gentleman for whom this is named. This is Mr. Carl Pierce, who is Deputy Sheriff, Dunklin County, and Carl, you're City Marshal in Hornersville.
Chief of Police. I'm the tax collector, the water commissioner, and the sewer commissioner.
If Carl died, Hornersville would have to close down, wouldn't they, Carl?
Well, I don't know about that.
All right. We're standing in an area that there's a lot of history to. Carl, what about I didn't know this new bridge was back here.
Well, this bridge has been here now, I'd say about 3 years, been completed about 3 years. This was put in here by the Missouri Fish and Wildlife. Starting out on this bridge here, now this was a trestle. And the railroad here was abandoned. They were tearing the trestles out. And structures that we're going to go look at after a while, I mean, was the reason I bought this trestle over here.
You bought a trestle that they were tearing out. Okay.
Yes, I'm off of Mr. Bob Benning's Railroad Salvage.
All right. Now, what were they going to do with this area when they tore the trestle out? That was a railroad trestle, right?
That's right. This would just be a ditch dump. That's all it would amount to. No one could get over here. When we've got to get here in order to get to the other 6 ditches that empties into this floodway ditch. See?
Okay. So you bought the trestle, and then what happened? How'd they happen to build a bridge?
Well, I had in mind just getting oak lumber and flooring the trestle, making a bridge out of it. And I got to talking to Mr. Nelson Tennant, the state senator, and he told me a fellow to call in Jefferson City, Mr. Frank Rick. And he said, now, if you'll tell him that what you're needing over there and why you do need it, he said, I believe they would go along with you and go in there and build a bridge there. So I called Mr. Frank Rick at Jefferson City, and I told him that I had the trestle bought, and I had the right-of-way to get to the trestle from the city of Hornersville. The people there were real nice. Mr. Manley Horner, Miss Alma Buss, and Alan Young here of Hornersville. He lives right here as we're coming into this.
So they were all interested in getting a way back into the river. That's
right. And they give their part of the roadway, I mean the railroad right-of-way back, see.
Yeah.
So we could do this.
Okay.
And
so the government came in and built this bridge.
That's right.
Eventually. All right. Through Mr. Nelson Tennant's contact and name and telling you, and a lot of work on your part?
Well, Mr. Rick, I called him, Frank Rick at Jefferson City, and he sent Larry Gill and Steve Young from Missouri Fish and wildlife down here to represent him. And we got this thing started, and it took us about a year to get it worked out, but you can see what they've built here. They have a real nice landing here going into Floodway Ditch, loading ramp, and we have a good parking area out here.
You see Hornersville in the distance. We're just really a stone's throw away, and when we came out here the other day, Mr. Pierce was back here with a weed eater, really working on this area. You try to maintain this, and what about this park area back here? Is that all? Does that all belong to you?
Yes, ma'am. I own the park area from here to Arkansas state line. This was made available to me by the Little River Drainage District.
Okay.
I have a lease on that land.
All right, and so we're going to be able to float down past there, and maybe you can give us some history of anything you have heard the old-timers talk about, what this area was like when Little River was its own meandering river up and down. All right, we just pulled away from Pierce Landing. 2, 3 more boats in the water where we are. You wouldn't think there'd be that kind of traffic out here, but there is today. Okay, very apparent that we're here where, 3 or 4?
Well, there's 3 ditches right now meeting right here coming in here.
Carl, have you heard have you heard a lot of stories about what this land might have looked like back before these floodway ditches were cut?
Oh, this was all swampland. I mean, there wasn't any ditches or ditch banks like you see here. This was all water and swamp.
Okay, now
this was a duck hunting and fishing paradise. People came from everywhere.
Okay, does this go right into the floodway ditches at Kennett?
Yes, ma'am, that sure does.
Okay, crosses under the bridge at Kennett. So you can get in this boat and go from here. How far north can you go?
I've been from here to Risco.
And what's at Risco to stop you?
Well, the water got too shallow.
Oh, okay. All right. Pierce Landing. This is a favored spot for all of Hornersville to come down to put in boats. It's been made into a picnicking, a camping, a recreation area that's really well maintained by Mr. Carl Pierce. Right on the banks of what was once the meandering Little River. Today we're going to float down past this Pierce Landing point, and we're going down all the way to the locks, across the floodway ditches as far as we can go, because the locks will be down, the dam it will be closed. We'll be in the area of Manila, Arkansas. We'll cross from Missouri into Arkansas in just a matter of a few moments here by way of boat. Okay, do many people use this? Yeah, you have crowds out here late afternoon or evening?
I've seen about, I'll say 75 to 100 kids out here. They always come out and swim every day.
Okay, the ducks and the geese over there, how in the world do you keep the hunters from blasting away at them? They're tame. How do they keep from getting killed in the fall?
Well, we have up signs that there is, tame ducks here, no hunting. There's no hunting on this land right here that I've leased from here to Arkansas.
Okay, no hunting between where, here, and...
From the park area to Arkansas, this is a dump here between Floodway and 81 Ditch. There'll be no hunting on it.
At wide open throttle down Floodway Ditch area. And Carl, what's this that we approach?
This is the Arkansas locks here. We just got into Arkansas. And this here controls the water. They can take all the water, or they can hold the water up. Seems like they want to take all of it.
Okay, so Arkansas, each state can control whatever the water that passes through there. They can put any kind of lock, any kind of dam they want to, and no other state has anything to say about it.
This is controlled by the Corps of Engineers. So far, this thing I don't think has been operated right. We were supposed to have about 2 foot of water left in Hornersville that we don't seem to ever get anymore.
Well, as we came out this morning, Barry McFarland was here and very interested in what we were doing. Tell me a little bit about, and he's following along behind us in the boat. Tell me what Barry's interested in doing.
Well, Barry's interested in doing just what all the fishermen and hunters are interested in. He wants the water level kept up another 2 foot higher, which wouldn't hurt us one bit.
Okay. Why will they not keep it up another 2? You mean that would mean that they would close these locks and let this water back up here? Why do they not want to do it, Carl?
Well, they say if they close these gates here and let the water back up, they have a spillway, low water spillway over in Buck Ditch. Go down State Line Ditch and go back south. They say that turns all the muddy water into Big Lake, and they don't want that.
All right, is just across these locks or spillway, is that Big Lake? Does it go right into Big Lake?
This one on the left right here will take you right into Big Lake.
This area right here is what the old-timers called Swiftwater. This is where all the swamp went back into Little River, which goes into the lake. This structure was passed in 1964 by Congress to build these structures, which have been on the drawing board since 1950, to divert the water around Big Lake to help flood control.
Carl, the cabins I'm seeing up here, the homes, what's the story on them?
Well, these are cabins here that people in Hornersville own. These cabins have been here for, I know, 50 years.
Okay, all right.
And they come down here and fish, hunt,
now,
spend the weekend.
Is the access to them only by boat? There's no road that comes in back there?
No road that comes to us. We're going to the lowest point in Missouri as far as sea level concerned.
Now, what do you call this channel?
We are right now in Arkansas State Line Ditch. This ditch on the left of us here, you're in Missouri. On the right of you here, you're in Arkansas. That splits the states up right here.
Okay, now, on the map, are we across the bottom of the boot heel? Is that where we are on the map? I can't picture this quite.
That's right. All right, now we are at the lowest point of the state of Missouri.
And we just dragged bottom at the lowest point in the state of Missouri. Carl, been a lot of fish stories told about this place, a lot of fish caught out here. I know that hanging in the Dunklin County Museum is a huge gar, 8 feet long, I believe I've heard, or a little over, and weighing hundreds of pounds. And you are in this picture when they're holding that gar up to be weighed. What about the circumstances? Where'd they get the gar? And are there anything like that, any gar like that now?
Well, this gar, what we're holding up at out there at the first trestle, that gar came right about 200 yards south of that area there.
Now, how'd you catch him?
Well, really, the gar ran up between 2 piling. They was pulling out piling there, bridge piling, and had them strung out up on the bank in a V shape, and the gar in the high waters run up between the 2 piling, got trapped, and that gar there was chopped in the head with a chopping axe for Raymond Springer.
He run up between 2 piling and just got caught. Now, if that's not a fish story, I have never heard.
That's what happened there on that one. Now, there's been some large gars caught.
Well, now, I heard there were 3 big gars, and they got 2 of them.
Well, there's one of the gars at Kennett at the museum, and there's one gar up here at Little Leonard Edmondson's den.
We've enjoyed our trip. A little bit of the history it's afforded us learning about the Hornersville area, one of the oldest cities in the Boot Heel area. We hope you've enjoyed this bit of history with us.